You know, if you've driven on a highway anytime recently, you've probably noticed something's missing, right? The toll booth. That whole ritual of slowing down, rolling down the window, handing over cash, it's pretty much a memory now. But this change is way bigger than just convenience. We're talking about a massive technological revolution that's completely reshaping our roads, our cities, and even how we think about our cars. So let's dive into how we got here and where this road is taking us next. So let's just start with the most basic question. One you've probably asked yourself while zipping through one of those new electronic gantries without even tapping the brakes. Why did we get rid of the toll booth? I mean, for the longest time, they felt like a permanent part of driving. And then, almost overnight, poof, they started to disappear. What was the big problem we were so desperate to solve?
Well, the answer really begins with what I call the Great Toll Booth Jam. Because for decades, that manual toll booth wasn't just a place to pay. Oh no, it was a guaranteed bottleneck. It was a problem baked right into the system, and it created this huge cascade of other issues every single day.
It really was a domino effect that went way beyond just a simple traffic jam. All that congestion meant cars were just sitting there, idling, which of course means tons of wasted fuel and a whole lot of extra pollution pumped into the air. And think about all the lost time, right? All those people stuck in line could have been doing something productive. And get this, even for the toll operators, all that manual cash collection was inefficient, and they were actually losing money. It was, simply put, a system that was failing everybody. So clearly something had to change. We needed a better way. And that brought us to the first really big leap forward, the first wave of electronic toll collection, or ETC. This was the so-called magic box that promised to finally break the jam.
The secret sauce behind this first wave was a technology called radio frequency identification, or RFID. Now, the concept is simple, but kind of brilliant. You have a small tag, a transponder, in your car. As you get close to the toll point, an overhead reader sends out a quick radio signal. Your tag hears it and responds with its own unique ID, and the whole transaction just happens, wirelessly, without you ever having to slow down.
The whole process is incredibly slick. Step 1, a transponder gets placed in your vehicle, usually right on the windshield. Step 2, an overhead antenna reads that tag as you drive under it. Step 3, the system instantly identifies the account linked to that tag. And Step 4, the toll is deducted. That's it. 4 steps that happen in the blink of an eye, completely replacing that whole stop and pay mess.
Okay, but what about the drivers who didn't have a transponder? For the whole system to go fully electronic, you couldn't leave anyone out. It needed a solution that worked for every single car on the road. And this challenge led to the rise of something called plate tolling.
Toll by plate is basically the backup plan that made getting rid of the booths completely possible. Instead of reading an RFID tag, a high-speed camera using some pretty cool tech called automatic number plate recognition, or ANPR, just snaps a photo of your license plate. The system then looks up who the car is registered to, and, well, it just mails them a bill. Simple as that. So which system is better for you, the driver? Well, it really just comes down to a trade-off. If you have a transponder, you're going to get the lowest possible toll rate. We're talking about 25% cheaper on average. With toll by plate, you pay a higher rate plus administrative fees to cover the cost of processing that picture and mailing you an invoice. It's the classic choice, right? Sign up ahead of time to save money in the long run, or pay a little extra for the convenience of not having to think about it.
But, going all electronic wasn't exactly a walk in the park. Just look at this number. $155 million. That is how much money in uncollected tolls Pennsylvania had in a single year, right after they made the switch. So why? Turns out the cameras couldn't always read license plates that were faded, or dirty, or just obscured, and that led to a massive amount of lost revenue. So yeah, the technology was good, but it still had some room to grow.
Now this is where the story gets a whole lot bigger. Because as the technology got better and more reliable, cities started to have a light bulb moment. They realized this tech could be used for so much more than just collecting money on a highway. It could be an incredibly powerful tool for managing the city itself.
The basic idea isn't even new. It was first dreamed up way back in 1959. But look at how it played out. Norway built the first real system in '86, but by 1998, Singapore was already taking it to the next level. They launched their electronic road pricing system not just to collect tolls, but to actively manage and reduce traffic congestion in their crowded city center. That was a game changer.
And this quote really just nails the whole shift in thinking. The true revolution wasn't about making drives on the open highway a little faster. It was about fixing traffic in the city. The ability to charge drivers without forcing them to stop or even slow down, that opened up a whole new strategy for urban planning called congestion pricing.
And today, this idea is everywhere. Major cities all over the world have jumped on board. London, Stockholm, Singapore, they all use this exact technology to discourage people from driving into the busiest parts of downtown during peak hours. The result? Less traffic and less pollution. And it's still growing. New York City is getting ready to launch its own system very soon.
So all of this brings us to what's next, to the next evolution. We're moving beyond gantries and cameras and into the era of the truly intelligent road. And this isn't some far-off future. We're talking about technology that is already starting to arrive.
The next massive leap is something called GNSS tolling. Now, instead of all that roadside equipment, this system uses the very same satellite technology that's in your phone's GPS to track a vehicle's journey. It can then calculate a toll based on the exact distance you traveled on a specific road. And what that really means is you could get rid of all those expensive gantries and cameras for good.
And listen, this is not science fiction. Germany has been using a GNSS-based system for its trucking industry for years. It's called Toll Collect. In Singapore, the pioneers from earlier, they're upgrading their system to a new version called ERP 2.0, which is going to be entirely satellite-based. It's going to allow for dynamic, super precise pricing across the entire island.
So what makes an intelligent road even possible? Well, it's a fusion of all this incredible new tech. You've got IoT sensors like LiDAR that can classify vehicles with insane precision. You've got 5G and V2X, which stands for Vehicle to Everything, which literally allows your car to talk directly to the road infrastructure. And you have things like predictive analytics that can model traffic flow in real time to change toll prices dynamically based on how congested a road is right this second.
All of this incredible technology, all this potential, it brings us to one final and really crucial question. It's that classic trade-off that sits at the heart of so many of our modern innovations: convenience versus privacy.
People clearly love the convenience. I mean, look at this. In Japan, 92% of drivers already use electronic tolling. The adoption can be absolutely massive. But as these systems get smarter, more connected, more precise, tracking not just which highway you're on, but your exact path from point A to point B, you have to start asking, what are the implications? Now, to be fair, the companies building these systems, they're not naive. They are keenly aware of these concerns, so they're building in really robust security from the ground up. Things like end-to-end encryption and data anonymization, which basically strips your personal identity away from your location history. The stated goal here is to collect the toll, not to track the person.
But it still leaves us with this final really thought-provoking question. We are building this incredible world of free-flowing traffic, of dynamic pricing, of amazing efficiency. But to get there, we all have to decide, for a completely frictionless journey, how much of our location data are we really, truly willing to share? That's a conversation we're all going to be having as our roads get smarter and smarter.